if Kai was still with olive oil, wouldn't be seeing these little leopard shorts, okay? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing okay and everyone is doing well. Defo smiling for such a weak episode. I'll be honest with you. Today's episode was weak. It didn't give, but you guys know, all of us that do these Love Island reviews, we try. Honestly, we try. So I'll try and spice things up and of course relay exactly what happened in tonight's episode. So as I usually and always say, by the way guys, happy Friday. I know that's right. But yeah, as I usually and always say, number one, if you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to subscribe and defo join the family. We are almost at 27k. And also be sure to follow me on my Instagram and also on my Twitter at SarahDestinyX. And like I usually and I always say, please get cozy and comfy with hot Ribena and some snacks, and let us get into this review. So let us start off with, of course, Tanya speaking to Shaq. This was a follow-up of yesterday's episode in regards to the whole sore loser situ. My views 100% still stand. I do understand that, yeah, a couple jokes, one or two jokes here and there may be funny, but after I have already communicated to you that what you are doing is irritating me, please do not do it again, because I'm going to get even more irritated and then there will be problems. If you haven't watched yesterday's review, definitely do. But I would say one thing that was really good was Tanya. She definitely took accountability for Shaq, which is interesting. Okay, good advice that she did give him, and did tell him to, of course, apologize. Very, 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 I feel like that was quite nice. And someone actually did comment in yesterday's review as well that if they can say one thing, is that they do feel like Tanya and Shaq, their communication over the past couple of episodes has definitely improved. So have to give them that. Of course, Shaq ended up going to apologize to Tom. What was really weird was when Shaq came back to Tanya, Tanya was like, oh, you're so sweet, I had the best boyfriend ever. And I was just wondering if I missed the episode where they became exclusive, or boyfriend, I even hate that word exclusive, why am I using it? But when they became boyfriend and girlfriend, did I miss that? I think maybe I did. But in all honesty, yeah, I'm glad that she was able to hold him accountable, and I'm glad that they've literally just let that rest, because they were doing too much. I'm sorry guys. Like I said, funny at first, but after I've already communicated to you that what you're doing is annoying, please do not do it again, because now I'm going to get even more irritated, and I don't like being irritated. I may just be speaking for myself, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on to them, of course, getting a text about the hideaway being open, and they decided to nominate Kai and Sanam. I do think that was quite a good choice. I think the only remaining couple that haven't been in the hideaway is, of course, Casey and Rosie, because they are relatively new, and also what's their name again? Tom and Sammy. I think Tom and Sammy haven't been. But one thing I would say was really cute was Kai. No, let me start with Sanam. Sanam looked like she was ready to go on a beach. Okay, I mean, Dubai sun, give me a tan. Kai looks like he was ready to go to an 80s disco. I don't know what Kai was wearing, but I'll be very honest with you in saying that I do love, and I've already told you guys this, some of you have been in my comments like, oh, Kai and Sanam are boring. I think they, for me anyway, they look like the most genuine couple in that villa currently. I can definitely see the connection between them. I know that Sanam is new, but she seems like a lovely girl, and I really love the fact that Sanam has honestly brought out a very, very, very fun side of Kai. If Kai was still with olive oil, wouldn't be seeing these little leopard shorts, okay? But yeah, I think they're cute, they're fun, they're unproblematic, and yeah. Of course, we can move back to some chats that were taking place whilst they were in the hideaway. Jessie and Will, she was saying that she's very happy that there's no drama, aka she's very happy that there's no Olivia, because everywhere Olivia went, there of course was chaos. But they were also speaking about having each other's hearts in their hands and all that type of stuff. Yeah, I guess cute. I feel like we kind of see them have this conversation on rotation quite a lot, so when they do speak again, it isn't anything new for me anyway. Let's move on to the following morning. Of course, Kai and Sanam back from the hideaway, and everyone asked them about their time in the villa. We can start with the boys. Of course, Kai saying that, you know, they used all the sauces and had a good time. I don't know what it is about like using chocolate sauces and stuff like that. I don't know. For me, it just seems messy. Am I unromantic? I don't know. But it just seems messy to me. Of course, Casey was saying that he's very happy that he could kiss Rosie without there being any repercussions. And I'm also glad that he said that. I did mention that in yesterday's review as well, when they did kiss boldly and publicly in the villa, that he doesn't need to worry about Auntie Claudette looking over his shoulder. And of course, Will lastly decided to bring up the whole sports day thing again. I think it was just to pretty much just kind of like summarize that, Tom, we're good. Like, I promise you we're fine. But even when Will said said, he was just like, oh yeah, sports day was the best day ever. I was thinking, this guy is actually not gonna rest. But Tom, of course, slept on it and was definitely in good spirits, and they of course decided to hash it out. Nothing to speak about the girls, to be honest, apart from Sanam saying that their hideaway was quite nice and also cute as well. Now let's move on briefly to Casey and Will making music while slapping their bodies and their chest. One thing that I do have to say is that I generally do feel like boys are easily amused and entertained. If you're a boy watching this, please take hat, okay? I'm not like throwing daggers anywhere or anything like that. But I do find that sometimes like boys are just pleased with the simplest of things in life. I don't know what it is. But what was quite interesting, and I did pick up on this, I tweeted it as well. I forgot your name, but someone tried to get onto me in my tweets as well. And just another side note, guys. Love Island reviews are literally reviews. I mean, I watch the show, I take notes, I film, I post, I reply to your comments, and then I go to bed. There is also life outside of Love Island. Some of you are literally sending me think pieces in my DMs that you're upset with my views. I promise you, it's just a show. I promise you, please don't take me seriously. I'm just voicing as I think, and yeah, it's really not that deep. So yeah, you sending me such long and rude messages will only get you blocked from the channel and also from the socials. It's really not that serious, I promise you. So I just need to throw that out there because some of you have been very rude, okay? Very rude, and I ain't taking it. So like I said, let's go back. So of course, Rosie was saying that she actually, sometimes things like that annoy her, but she really likes an emotional, mature guy, and she feels like Casey is emotionally mature. And Jessie was like, oh, I think they're very annoying together. And I think, if anything, she was trying to kind of get approval or validation from Rosie because she looked at Rosie, but Rosie literally shut it down, and then the camera panned back to Jessie and she was just like, yeah. That for me was very interesting, okay? Very interesting that Jessie finds it annoying. But even if you do, I didn't really understand why she low-key came across like she wanted Rosie to approve that. I don't know, but yeah, some people in my comments seem to think that I have like a strong hatred for Jessie. I really don't. It's not that deep, but I just find her character quite interesting. And over the past couple episodes, we've been seeing different sides of her, but we'll also get into that later because we know she ended up crying today. Let's move on to them, of course, getting a text that it was time for the rating challenge, and there were in total, how many questions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 questions, okay? So I didn't write down what the island has done and then the actual results. I just decided to write down the actual results because even the discussions that they had for the questions, we know were messy. But let's start off with the question 1, which was the top 3 hottest couples. In 3rd place was Kaya and Sanam. I'm not surprised. By the way, I didn't vote. Did any of you vote? I don't even know when all of this voting took place, but apparently the public voted. But the 3rd was Kaya and Sanam. The 2nd was Ron and Lana. It's given Fiat 500 because I don't see Ron and Lana and think they're a hot couple. I don't know. I definitely feel like Shaq and Tanya should have been there. And then the top were Tom and Sammy. I'm not surprised. I think Tom is an okay-ish looking guy. He has height, and height is always a plus. And Sammy, I do think, is a pretty girl. Question 2 was the most intelligent couples. Tom and Sammy were voted the 3rd, Will and Jessie the 2nd, and Kai and Sanam the 1st. Not surprised because we know that Kai's actual profession is a teacher, and I believe that Sanam is a social worker. 3rd question was the most argumentative couples. Will and Jessie came out 3rd. Casey and Rosie, someone tried to nominate them, but I think they were like, we never argued. They may not have argued directly, but indirectly, Claudia has caused issues with you guys. But they weren't even on the podium. Shaq and Tanya were now 2nd, and Kai and Sanam, no, sorry, Will and Jessie 3rd, Casey and Rosie 2nd, and they of course said that they haven't argued. And then Shaq and Tanya were 1st. Shaq and Tanya definitely took it on the chin. They were just like, yep, good arguments, it's fine. So I do feel like Shaq and Tanya didn't take some of the questions to heart. Let's move on to question 4, the top 3 couples with the worst dress sense. Shaq and Tanya were 3rd. Shaq is definitely bringing Tanya down because Tanya dresses lovely every single night. I know she's actually going to deliver. My favorite outfit till date has been that, you remember when she wore that triple denim? What? Who wears triple denim and looks good? Tanya does. So yeah, Shaq is bringing our good sis down. 2nd place were Casey and Rosie as the worst dress sense. I don't really check for their swag, to be honest. And of course, Will and Jessie were number 1. And lastly, not lastly, sorry, question 5 was the top couples that are very Yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but if you watched, you watched. But yeah, the third was Will and Jessie, the second was Tom and Sammy, and the first was Shaq and Tanya. I'm not surprised. Shaq and Tanya are always talking about bits and bobs that they want to do at night time, so no surprise there. Question 6 was top 3 couples for being in a one-sided relationship. The third was Casey and Rosie. Second was Will and Jessie, which we know Jessie's going to bring up later on as well. And the first was Shaq and Tanya. What was interesting though was when that question was asked, Ron was like, he nominated himself for being like in a one-sided relationship. I think he said because he's smitten or something like that. But I just found that a bit interesting because you guys are girlfriend and boyfriend. So why you're bringing your nose into this question, it doesn't make sense to me. Of course, question 4, we can move on to question 4, question 7. Guys, I'm so sorry. It's actually Friday. But was the top 3 couples that will have their heads turned when they leave the villa. The third place was Shaq and Tanya. Second was Ron and Lana. And first place was Casey and Rosie. What was quite interesting though was Casey, when the question was first asked, Casey was like, oh, I feel like you, to Shaq, I feel like you and Tanya should go just because of the Casa situation. Have you looked at your grass before you're... Casey, you are talking. Someone that kissed Rosie and... God, someone that kissed Rosie and was saying, should I go and tell Claudia? Please, your head would do like this once you guys leave the villa. Be serious. Question 8 was the least sexual chemistry top 3 couples. What was so interesting was Lana made a comment and she was just like, oh, you know, we're girlfriend and boyfriend, so we shouldn't be up there. And being girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't exempt you from not having sexual chemistry or having sexual chemistry. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. The hideaway scene with, what's their name now? Renisha and Lana, it was given best friend sleepover. So I know, and I'm glad that they now know, that people know that there's no sexual chemistry between them. Am I saying it's the be all and end all for a relationship? No. But I do feel like that comment was a bit weird. Like, you can be girlfriend and boyfriend with someone and there can be no sexual chemistry there. Very interesting. But of course, third place was Will and Jessie. Second was Casey and Rosie. And Ron and Lana were first place. So I'm happy they now know what the public also know. And of course, last but not least, the last question, which caused a lot of drama in the villa, as we know that this also progressed into the second half of today's episode, was the top 3 game playing couples. Yeah, like I said, problem. Okay, there were problems. What was so interesting though was Rosie was the first person to speak, and she said that she feels like Kai and Sanam should be there because they've been in a lot of couples. For me, her mic was just a bit too loud there. Like, honestly, so loud I was wondering if she actually unpacked from entering the villa. Because my thing was, okay, yeah, you're like, oh yeah, because Kai's been in a lot of couples. Okay, but so is Tom. Okay, but so is Casey. Okay, should we get into Ron? Like, I just felt like for someone that is relatively new into the villa, she's just a bit too outspoken for me. But of course, Tanya and Shaq said that they're not going up there because they weren't playing games. I did find that quite funny, but we also know that Shaq definitely added fuel to the fire, because he was like, you know, for example, anyone can say that Ron is playing games because after all that they went through, he decided to make Lana his girlfriend. What was so interesting was, although Shaq is right, guys, let's be honest, although Shaq is right, they need to focus on their grass. You know, you guys' grass is still healing for some people. Do you get what I mean? And unfortunately, and this is something that I have definitely noticed as well in regards to like Twitter and tweets and comments and things like that. Fiat 500 are a lot more forgiving than Black Twitter. Let's just be honest. So even if people felt like Ron and Lana were playing a game, they will still vote them for them to win, okay? But in regards to the votes, Ron and Lana were, of course, third place. Shaq and Tanya were second. And Casey and Rosie were first. Now, we'll get into the conversations of them speaking after, because there was a lot of combos going on, a lot of people speaking. Jessie randomly started crying. Yeah, a lot of people had opinions, okay? But let's start off with Tom, Sammy, Casey and Rosie. They were speaking about Jessie's comment about how it's been 2 days and Casey is acting that Claudia doesn't even exist. I find that quite interesting, only because maybe it's just coming from the fact that Jessie and Claudia were, I guess, close, or Jessie thought that they were, I don't know, but I just feel like everyone should have honestly just focused on their grass. I didn't feel like the reactions that we were given after the challenge were relevant, if that makes sense. Like, it's literally just a game, let it go. If you guys know you're solid in your couples, none of these questions should faze you. And even if you are not solid in the couples, clearly if you want to play a game, just play a game. Like, I just kind of feel like all the comments and the back and forth and the different scenes for me was just a bit too much. But of course, Ron and Lana in the meantime were speaking while Shaq and Tanya were speaking, and Ron was saying that, you know, he's really happy, you know, he doesn't really care. I really felt no, not felt. I already told you guys what I felt. I don't see Ron and Lana lasting, number one. And number two, I do feel like Ron has been playing a game. Unfortunately, we're too far into the season for his head to turn or his head to do, but I don't know what it is. I just don't see or feel the spark between Ron and Lana. If you do, down below, please let me know. I'm sure Fiat 500 100% do, but for me personally, I don't see it and I also don't feel it. But with them being voted as being the least sexual chemistry couple. I don't know if that makes sense. These questions are starting to mess in my head. But with them being voted number one, I do feel like Ron is definitely going to try to kind of show a bit more sexual chemistry. I think they randomly had a kiss. Do you guys get what I mean? I don't know what it is. I don't see Ron as being genuine, and I just don't understand why I get that vibe from him. Of course, at the same time, Shaq and Tanya were speaking, and they were also just like, yeah, that Ron's been smooth. You know when couples gist, and they honestly gist. The thing is, like I said, Shaq and Tanya aren't wrong. You know, Shaq and Tanya are not wrong, but unfortunately, Tanya has brought Shaq down in regards to their couple, because someone also commented this on my video yesterday as well, that Shaq and Tanya ideally should be in the running to leading up to the final, because they have been an OG couple from the jump. Yeah, there was a bit of issues with Casa Amor, but like they do have a genuine connection, and you can see that Tanya was happy that she chose him instead of Martin, etc, etc, etc. But like I said, I just don't feel like Black Twitter are as forgiving as Fiat 500, and for that reason, that's why the comments that they were making were kind of seen to be quite interesting. But yeah, like I said, it's not even like they're wrong, but people just feel like they shouldn't speak on the situation because their one is still healing. That's pretty much it. Let's move on briefly to Jessie and Will. Not really much to discuss here. You know, she said that she's upset that she feels like Will likes her more, or she's upset that she thinks that Will likes her more, and of course started crying. It's given 50k is not in my hands. Okay, that's what it's given, because I didn't really understand the cause for the tears. I'm sure Will is tired. Like, I get it, people can be emotional, but it's a bit tiring. Do you know what I mean? Like, it definitely is a bit tiring. I just don't understand why she started crying. I did think it was a bit weird, and I feel like Will low-key doesn't really know how to respond to her crying anymore. Yes, he does. Oh, sorry guys, leg is numb. But yes, he does 100% want to make sure that she is okay. Like, you literally picked a situation out of nothing in that scenario, and I just feel like it was just a bit lackluster for me. But let me know if you agree or you disagree down below. Some of you think I literally hate Jessie with all my guts. It's really not that deep, guys. Like I said, it's just a Love Island review. Last but not least, let's move on to the rest of the crew talking about Shaq speaking about Ron and Lana, you know, being the worst ones, and Ron and Lana being this and being that. Of course, they were asking Ron as well, like, oh, you know, have you spoken to Shaq? And he was like, nah, he's calm, but he just thinks that it's not a common opinion to have. And I just found that quite interesting. Okay, like like I said, I just feel like everyone was just doing the most. I mean, it was a game, the public voted, so none of you should be upset. Of course, Shaq defo voiced something that Ron has not heard of his ears. But one thing that I do have to say is that I genuinely do feel like some of the other islanders feel that way, because none of the other islanders spoke up when Shaq said that, i.e. you're saying what we're thinking, but we haven't had the opportunity to say it as well. But I guess in Sunday's episode, maybe it's going to start off with Ron speaking to Shaq like, why would you say that I'll make Lana my girlfriend just because I'm playing a game? That's definitely going to happen, because we do know that Ron and Shaq, I guess, have some type of bromance. So when they are tense, the rest of the villa is also tense as well. Overall, guys, quite a lackluster episode once again. Glad it's Friday. It's been a very interesting week, you know, very interesting. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I just feel like, number one, defo lackluster, but also number two, everyone was just doing the most. I mean, if these were the public's votes and you guys are happy in your couples and you feel like things are fine, then what the public are saying honestly just shouldn't affect you. But yeah, guys, as always, let me know what you also thought of that episode down below. If you haven't yet subscribed, what exactly are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe and defo join the family. But other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please take care, stay blessed, have a lovely Friday evening and also a lovely weekend, and I shall see you on Sunday. Bye.